Okay, so this video might be quite random, and people that know me, I know what well, I mean. Whoever watches this video, especially the ones that know me, they might be like, "Why does he have a podcast mic, headphones?" And it's like 3 in the morning, which is pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie, but I just wanted to make this video. I don't know why, but I just wanted to give a quick story time, very brief, but it just something just spoke to me just to tell this story. And the theme of this story is going to be don't ignore the signs. Like don't ignore the signs. And yeah, I'm gonna get straight to the story. So about last year, right? Last year, and we're in the new year already. Days been going by fast, whatever. But last year, 2025, it was a pretty tough year. One of the most toughest years I've not one of the most, but it was, very tough year. Dealt with a lot situations, friendships, etc. Just dealing with a lot. Had a lot on my plate, whatever. Um, but towards the middle of 2025, right? During the summer, there was this guy. There was this guy that lived in my building, and I didn't even because I live and I'm in the Bronx. Right? I'm from the Bronx. Been born in the Bronx, lived in the Bronx my whole entire life. 24 years old, whatever. There was this guy seen in the coming out of the building, and I'm like, oh, like he lives in the building. I never just seen him before. I guess he just moved in there, maybe recently, maybe a couple months ago, whatever. Maybe, and had like, I never had small, I never had small talk with this guy. I never really talked to him like that. Maybe like I probably might have said like hey or whatever. But the second time I seen this dude, when I was coming out of the building this one day, the guy was just standing outside on a random summer day, like July, like mid July. I would say like July 15. Like the guy was just standing out there, just looking up and down the hill, just seeing like who's walking up, who's coming up the hill, walking down the hill, whatever. And we in the Bronx. I'm like, you just standing there just watching. Like I don't know, but that day I was about to leave to go to the park, and the minute I exit out the main gate, I was gonna go throw out the trash and then go about my day. And I was on the phone too, but the guy just stopped me. Out of all people, like that walked out of the building, he stopped me in particular. So I'm like, like what's going on? He said, "Hey you." Well, he didn't point at me, but he was like, "Hey you." He just started off like he just cut straight to the chase, and he just started off by saying, "I seen that you've been through so much in your life, and I'm sorry that you had such a tough upbringing." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He just apologized. I'm like, "Why are you apologizing for?" He's like, "I'm sorry that you had to go through so much while you was growing up." I was like, "What in the?" I'm like, "Nah, we not doing this, bro." I'm like, "Nah, we not doing this." You feel me? We not doing this. But I was like, let me just see what he had to say. He was just like, "You have conquered stuff that you didn't think that you would conquer. Like dealing with the wrong people or doing stuff that I should have been doing in the first place." And he was just saying so many things that hit home. I'm like, what in the heck? It was kind of like it was kind of like something that like my closest friends, like stuff that my closest friends would know. But all the stuff that he was telling me, I wouldn't even tell my closest friends. That's how like how much he knew. I'm like, how do you know all this stuff? And I realized, this must have been a divine encounter, because it's pretty obvious that it was a divine encounter. I'm like, yeah. He like, I see that you're being tormented, like you're being like, it's like a tug of war, like people coming up to you, people trying to infiltrate all of this spiritual stuff and whatever. I'm like, wow. He was just hitting the hammer on the nail. Like he was just hitting everything on the mark. I'm like, wow. And he just started praying for me towards the end of the conversation. And he was just like talking in tongues. He was just talking in tongues. And I'm like, I never seen somebody approach me in this fashion. I was just so blown away. I'm like, yo. And I've been, I grew up in church my whole entire life. I'm an instrumentalist or whatever. Grew up in church my whole entire life. And never a day, like, I've had an encounter like that. It was just like, he was just sympathizing with me. He was just apologizing. I'm like, wow. I feel like it was a supernatural encounter. I felt like God was talking through him to try to talk to me. I just had to get that out there real quick, because what are the odds of that happening? Especially on a random like summer day, like just mind my business, and that just happened, and I was like, wow. He was just praying for me. He's like, yo, God will bless you. God will do so much for you and whatnot. And I'm like, wow. Wait, how many minutes has this been already? This has been 6 minutes. Wow. It's been okay. This is more than brief, but I just wanted to say that though, real quick. Yeah, just don't ignore the signs, bro. 'Cause I feel like there's always signs that are trying to tell us something, or maybe God is talking through somebody to talk to us, whether it be like on maybe social media, or through a friend, or through maybe like a homeless guy, because it could be anything could be considered as a divine encounter. But yeah, that's all that I wanted to say. And yeah, just stay blessed out here, man.